back in the clinic for the third time that month. The last 2 times, multiple blood tests came back normal, but he was concerned. And as a medical student, it was my job to figure out why. Doctor, my blood pressure was up over 133 times this week. Harry, stress can do that. It's normal. Doctor, my sleep cycles. I was only in REM 20% of the night. Harry, that's actually the definition of a perfect sleep. But doctor, these aches and pains, what if it's lupus? What if it's familial Mediterranean fever? I had never even heard of familial Mediterranean fever. Harry tracked every piece of data imaginable, from activity level, mood swings, caloric intake, all using digital health tools. Harry was no idiot. He ran a successful small company. And yet, in his quest towards physical perfection, he seemed to be suffering from an overabundance of data. We have unleashed the most powerful tool in medicine to date, the digitally empowered patient. These patients have long been searching the internet for their diseases, but now, thanks to the boom of mobile health technology, they are equipped with an arsenal of over 30,000 mobile health apps and 115 wearable sensors. There is an app to tell you that the flu is nearby, and another that will display your heart's electrical activity on your smartphone in real time. These tools can help motivate patients to make healthier choices and may be able to reduce the $2 trillion our nation spends every year on preventable chronic disease. These tools can place an informed patient at the very center of the healthcare system and thereby increase the odds of an accurate diagnosis and decrease the odds of medical mistakes. But what happens when a layperson becomes overwhelmed by information about his body? The closest analogy I can think of is medical school, where a layperson is transformed into a medical expert. There's an old joke that when you enter medical school, you begin to contract the disease of the day. This was written about in the medical literature as early as the 1960s. They called it medical studentitis. I remember a day during my first year of medical school, I was in an ultrasound class. Imagine it, you are in a dark room, your tender underbelly is exposed, and for the first time in your life, you have a unique opportunity to peer inside yourself. At one point, I became extremely anxious because I was convinced that a certain dark spot on the screen was cancer. And it wasn't until the instructor returned to reassure me that it was just my kidney that I was able to relax. I had these fears because I was acquiring new information about my body without the medical context to go with it. But of course, that was the whole point of medical school. I was benefiting by working with mentors who had years of experience separating the truly sick from the worried well. But patients like Harry don't have access to that. Will these tools create a nation of hypochondriacs? Psychosomatic conditions cause real suffering, and the resulting stress can lead to real physical disease. And what about on the other end of the spectrum? What about patients who become overly confident? And there are a host of other concerns. Who owns the data? Who is legally responsible when disease is uncovered? And what about security? Last year at a conference, a benevolent hacker showed that it was possible to hack an insulin pump from 300 feet away to deliver a lethal dose of insulin. So what should we do? These issues are being debated in Congress as we speak. As patients and as consumers, should we rely solely on the US Food and Drug Administration to police this industry? It's a big job, and they're pretty far away. What about as the Silicon Valley community of investors, entrepreneurs, programmers, and health tech? Think maybe we should take on some of this responsibility upon ourselves? Physicians, at the beginning of their training, all solemnly take the Hippocratic Oath, which includes the adage to first do no harm. Health tech entrepreneurs are never asked to do the same. I want to offer 3 practical strategies which can help the health tech entrepreneur protect patients and do no harm. Strategy 1, synthesize the data. Healthcare suffers from information chaos. Patients and physicians must navigate through erroneous, conflicting, missing information. They just want to know how the patient is doing, poorly, okay, or well. Red, so show them red, yellow, green. Keep it simple. Reduce push notifications. Strategy 2, empower the patient. Providing personal health data without some sort of analysis and actionable results can be almost inhumane. Even something as simple as providing common causes for common symptoms can reduce anxiety. What's a common cause for a racing heartbeat? Caffeine. What's a common cause for twitchy muscles? Caffeine, stress, mineral imbalance. And most importantly, strategy 3, integrate the expert. Sometimes patients cannot or should not be reassured by a product. The famous Silicon Valley venture capitalist Vinod Khosla believes that health technology will drastically reduce or even eliminate the need for physicians, but I disagree. I think people will always want access to the experience, the medical context, and frankly, the human element that healthcare professionals provide. And with technology, their power to heal is even greater. And yet, this is the most challenging of the 3. Why? Because large electronic medical record companies keep their digital platforms mostly closed, in part to protect profits. That means that the makers of the health apps cannot seamlessly integrate into the medical record systems that the physicians look at. And that means that the physicians and the patients cannot easily work together simply because their tools do not talk to one another. This is the single biggest problem in health technology, and it needs to change. As consumers, as patients, as physicians, as investors, we can put pressure on both the little health technology companies as well as the large medical record companies to integrate their systems. And we can do that through conversations, through advocacy, and through our purchasing decisions. Health technology will be at the center of hundreds of millions of medical decisions going forward. I am asking the health tech entrepreneur to take on the role of healer and take on the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm. We should be using business to benefit patients rather than using patients to benefit business. These businesses should go beyond providing data. They should build products that truly enhance their customers' well-being, products that provide synthesized, actionable data that both empower the patient and integrate the expert into a cohesive system. These are the products that will be rewarded in the marketplace. Thank you.